Hey guys, it's B here. I wish I knew how to do the editing and thumbnails and all that so I could have pretty pictures like other people do, have a nice intro, things like that, but I don't. I'm not technologically savvy. I put out what I can do and that's all I can do. That's my best at this time. What I wanted to talk to about today is, what do you do on those days that you need help, but the person you're supposed to be asking for help makes it clear they don't want it. They don't want to do it. This whole process started with, if you lose weight, your back will be fine. If you do this, then your life will improve. If. All it took was a little kid knocking me off a step and I had to go into emergency surgery for my spine. Triple spinal fusion, double laminectomy. From that, it resulted into having heterotopic ossification of the spine. No one could have foreseen that happening. Sorry guys, I've been crying. Been diagnosed with T4 syndrome. I've got a rare condition on my scalp where I've get these lumps and they're oily and they scab up and they bleed and you can barely brush your hair. It's some sort of severe hair acne where the follicles clog up with oil or something like that. It's very rare. It should be my middle name. Rare diseases, rare conditions. It was supposed to be originally $10,000 out of pocket to get the gastric bypass, gastric sleeve. Went to the interview, got told, actually went in for surgery, got told, no, you can't have the sleeve because you already have, because of my past history of trying to take my life, I drank A-grade toilet cleaner, which is acid, and it destroyed all my lining of my stomach and esophagus and everything like that. So I'm on medication for the rest of my life so I can eat without it giving me severe heartburn and issues. As a result, I've got to be on this medication, and therefore I didn't qualify for the gastric sleeve or the gastric banding. The only one that I could get done was the gastric bypass, which by law I should never have been able to get done because I was not even close to being big enough to get it done. I was obese. I was 120 kilograms. I don't know how many pounds that is. But I had been losing weight on my own. And to everyone, hubby and friends and the GP I had at the time, their solution was, you can starve yourself, blah, 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 or get this surgery done. It all seemed like it went fine. Then a week after the gastric bypass, I collapsed in severe agony. Cost me another $12,000 out of pocket. For 14, I think in total it was $24,000 out of pocket because each test they had to do was like $1,000. And what happened was that I developed a blood clot on my right lung. And then from that, I developed severe esophageal and stomach spasms, which they couldn't get a hold of. They couldn't figure out how to stop it, and basically wasn't able to eat for 4.5 months. Didn't have a bowel movement for 2.5 months, and after that, I was going septic. So I went to see my private physician, and he took one look at me and he said, "You're septic. You need to go into hospital right now." So I got into hospital, pretty much spent like 2 months in hospital being hydrated. my veins are destroyed because I was that dehydrated. They had to puncture me so many times just to get a vein. That now I've just got scar tissue. It's just been one of those things that I wish I had been informed that 1 in 3 have really bad complications, and 1 in 3 gastric bypasses go completely haywire. We just go wrong. Didn't know the statistics. Went in, thought, yeah, this is going to help my back. It's what everyone says. What it did was cause my bone to protrude, and because I've got metal work, you can see there my scar. So I've got metal from my L3 to my S1. So basically I call it my extended butt crack. It's a going joke between my kids and I. And basically the bottom of it has got a bone growth on the outside of it, like a tailbone type of thing. But what it does is when, let's see if I can balance this somehow. What it does is that when I try and see it, the bone, this is really hard. I wish I had a tripod. No, it's not going to work. I can't do that because then I can't bend that way. So what it does is that, say this is my spine, and then this is the bottom of the top of the bone. Well, the bone presses on my spine like that, pushing up the screws and causing it to be extremely painful when I try and walk. My left leg grinds in my hip. It makes, I think I've said it before, these horrific, it's like once you hear it you can't unhear it, creaking noise, and almost like an old door. But as the bone grew, it sounds even worse now, and it's excruciating. I've discovered that I've been able to sit 3 times for the first time in months, so there's a possibility that I'll be able to use my wheelchair again soon, which would be great because it means that this $80,000 that I spent on this specialised modified van wasn't completely for waste, even though I felt pressured into buying that, and there's another long story. But essentially, I think what I wanted to get across today is, unless you really, really, really can't diet or have really tried everything, like I tried everything dieting, but I found fasting, and as long as you take vitamins and stuff like that, and then eating, that helped me. I lost 58 kilograms, but because I didn't maintain it, I gained, after my surgery, I wasn't able to maintain the exercise, so I put most of it back on. And because I was incontinent and all this stuff, it was very difficult. So at the moment, today is just one of those days where, you kind of wonder why you're here. But I know God has put me here for a purpose, and I know that there's somebody out there that I can help through my story, my journey. My earliest memory was being a baby in my father's arms and crying my biological dad. My biological mum screaming in the background. Him holding me and cradling me as still crying. Obviously I was a baby, so I didn't know what was going on. My father put his finger in my mouth and gave me something that warmed my all the way down my body. And I calmed and obviously fell asleep, because that's all I remember. Now, when I'm a grown-up, I realise that he must have given me some alcohol, because that was the warm feeling. And, that's my earliest memory. And to me, that's a happy memory, because it's a memory I remember of my father alive, and not before I saw him get murdered. I've had a lot of trauma in my life, and it feels like it's never ending. But I have 2 beautiful kids. 2 reasons to be alive. 2 reasons to fight, to keep the fight. 2 amazing gifts from God that I was told I'd never have. And that's what I gotta focus on days like today, where it feels like doom and gloom. That I have these 2 amazing little beings that are worth fighting for. And trying to be generally upbeat. But everyone has their days. And today just happens to be a bad day for me. And this seems to be my only outlet. So, coming on here and sharing my story, hoping that someone out there can relate. And there's so many people that watch mukbangs like myself who can't eat, and they'll have so many health problems. And it's amazing, because I've started meeting some of you, not in person obviously, but talking to you, and it just brings you in this connection of knowing that there's other people out there. There's other people that know how you feel, instead of having people in your life that say, accept the pain, get over it. It's not as easy as that. It's draining, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally. Add that to having to deal with all the trauma I've had in my life, the distrust issues, self-sabotaging relationships because I just don't trust anyone. It's a bit of a lonely journey at times, but I just wanted to get on and talk, and hopefully someone will respond and can relate, and we can talk. I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm not feeling suicidal or anything like that. I'm just having a rather crappy day and feeling very unsupported, and I wish I'd never asked to get marriage counselling, because it always goes wrong. It always goes wrong. It always ends up with me crying and feeling like I've done something wrong, when all I want is to feel like I'm loved and like I belong somewhere. That security that a lot of people take for granted, that having a mum, a dad, siblings that love you unconditionally. I don't have that. I've got siblings that love me in South America, but I haven't seen them since I was probably about 4. We were all abandoned at separate times. Most of them went to family members. My brother, my sister, and I were the unlucky ones who ended up on the streets. But my sister just got married on the 7th of September. Remarried. She actually seems to be doing really well. I'm very proud of her. She's doing a nursing degree. She's wanted to be a nurse for as long as I can remember. And I haven't I hadn't spoken to her since 2013, really. It's, that's another long story, but, you know, it's really nice to be in contact with her. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to talk to her. It's just sucks not having someone at home to talk to, or being too scared to open up. And the supports I've had in place are finishing next week. So it's just got a group of people who are worried for my safety and well-being. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. I don't have the support network from family. I don't have any friends near me. This is not a feel sorry for me video. I'm not into that look. I don't want people's pity. I think the biggest thing I'd like to get out there is understanding, you know. Like, I hear a lot of these people downing Amberline Reed, I think her name is, because she started a weight loss channel and she gained weight. My God, people, if that's really what's taking over your life and what you're whinging about, you should feel very blessed that all you have to whinge about is someone else's problem. There are so many problems out there, so many health issues with people that consume their lives. People like myself who can't eat, who want to eat, who can't walk without a aid, who can't have a shower by ourselves because there's a chance you're going to pass out. You know, that there's so much pettiness in the world. Don't be one of those people who feeds that and makes it worse, because there is no need for it. So what if she put on weight? Worry about your own lives. You know, watch the news. See what really is happening. See what real problems are. Weight gain and being overweight. Really? Who gives a crap? Those people are aware of the problem. They know what they're doing. When they're ready to address it, they will. Having people nagging them, having people troll them, that's not going to fix the problem. That makes them feel worse about themselves and probably binge more. I know that's what I would have done. But I was lucky. I was always aware of how big I was getting. I just couldn't do anything physically about it until I changed my diet. And then until I got peer pressured into getting this surgery, that I just had a feeling I shouldn't have gotten done. But, you know, I got told that you'll thank me when you're skinny, you'll thank me. It's not about being skinny, it's not about being fat. It's about the fact that people are so shallow that all people see is, oh wow, you're skinny. Automatically think that you're healthy. No. Yes, my size 10 pants are way too big for me. Am I healthy? No. I could die from a heart attack at any stage because I'm lacking nutrients and I can't eat. I can eat a tablespoon of food. And some people that are big can't help that. There's genetics, there's so many things people don't take into account. All they see is someone's size, someone's looks, and they feel they have to belittle that person And I think, what a waste of your time. You could be studying, you could be colouring, you could be drawing, you could be cooking, you could be doing anything in that time. But instead, you're sitting in front of a computer or an iPad or a phone, and you feel that you have the need to belittle someone. And it's a sad world that's what our society has come to, that, someone made a mistake, so you grill them and you don't let them ever forget. How about allowing people to grow from it? How about acknowledging that, yes, you've made a mistake, but it's not too late to turn your life around? Encouragement. That's more helpful than belittling, than negativity, than hate, than, berating. That stuff makes the world worse. And for people like myself who live with chronic pain, and for those of you, and you know who you are, who think just because we don't look sick every day, because we don't pass out every day, that we're faking it, or honey, you don't know till you know. And when you get that pain and you go, oh my God, I am so sorry you're going through that, it's the day you realize what life means, what judging others, how it does nothing. Because then you're the person in that position and you don't want to get pitied. You don't want sympathy. All we ask for is understanding that, hey, it might take me a little while to get off a lift. Don't curse at me. Don't abuse me because I'm slow. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I can't feel my legs half the time, If I drop something and I ask for help to pick it up, there's no need for evil looks. I'm not asking it because I'm lazy and I don't want to bend down. I'm asking because I cannot bend down. I'm asking not because I want to, because I have to. And I think one of the biggest journeys I've learned is that we all judge. We're creatures of habit. We're creatures of our upbringing. We judge. We see something, we think, they must be lazy. They must be this. And it's nonsense. There's genetics, there's genes, there's illnesses, there's so many things that affect. And the funniest thing I find is that the biggest people, I'm not talking about that 600-pound plus where you see them, they eat and eat and eat and eat, and it's just ridiculous. I'm talking about the people who are big and they barely eat anything. When I was 120 kilos, I ate 1 meal a day. 1. And it was because I only ate 1 meal a day that I kept storing everything. So on those days that I may have some chips, my body would go, absorb that, because we don't know when I'm going to eat again. And the problem with my condition was that because I started with being on the streets, with having to beg for food, that I still have that mentality that I've got to hoard, or I've got to keep stuff because I don't know if I'm ever going to eat again. But you're going to eat again. It's just that working on your mind, the mindset that, a lot of it is working on your mind, working on your thoughts, working on your emotions. There's emotional eating, there's emotional... I react through my limbic system. I lack the capacity thus far to react from my frontal lobe because my amygdala gets hijacked. So I tend to react sometimes like a 5-year-old with little outbursts and instead of rationally thinking and then reacting. So what I'm doing now in my DBT course is I know where I'm going wrong. So right now my husband and I are fighting, so I've taken myself out of the situation. I'm having myself time out. I'm talking to you guys because it's my way of therapy. And I don't have anyone else to talk to. So my life is very isolated because I physically can't go very far. I have to rely on my husband to drive me places. I don't like to ask him for help because we've had instances in the past where disturbed him from playing Xbox, and it's for F's sake, you know, so you feel like a burden. When you get told you're a burden, you feel like a burden, and it's hard to let those emotions go. And one thing I'm trying to really work on is the tit for tat, you know. You did this, so, you know, I'm reacting like this, and I'm only doing this because you did that. It doesn't get you anywhere. It's just petty nonsense. But in saying that, I do have to be careful what I say because I don't want to be heard and it to make this current situation worse. And I wish every day was a good day. But that's not reality. Reality in life is we have our ups and we have our downs. Sometimes we have people that want to support us. Sometimes the people in our lives don't want anything to do with us. But my daughter just got home, guys, so I'm going to log off. I can't remember what my kids wanted to call you guys. But, you know, you never know what tomorrow brings. So all I can do now is try and be more positive, and I'm going to watch some music. I'm going to listen to some music. Do stuff that's going to lift me up. Even if I don't feel like being chirpy. I want to be chirpy for my kids because I want them to see happy mummy, not sad mummy. My kids see me cry, they want to cry. And they get mad at daddy. And that's not what I want. So, just want to sign off saying I'm sorry for crying. But I just felt I needed to come on and just point out a few things that are said and done that are so unnecessary. Anyway, gotta go. But love you guys. I know I don't have a whole lot of subs, but just sharing my story with anybody that watches, it helps me. It's therapeutic. So, thank you if you're watching. Thank you for listening. Love you. Peace. Be kind to each other. Take care.